This is Robo Artist, a robotic arm system that looks at a drawing on a piece of paper and then draws it itself using a marker. Copying an image is easy with the copying machine and printer, which take a picture and effectively replicate it directly pixel by pixel. However, recreating a human-made drawing using a drawing utensil presents an interesting challenge, since we would need to effectively reverse engineer how the drawing was made and then tell the robot to recreate it. For example, a line drawn by a marker has width, so using edge detection on the image would show two edges, but we want the robot to draw a single line. In this video, we'll introduce how our system works and provide details about each step of the process. We'll begin with the sensing and pre-processing steps, then discuss motion planning and actuation. Let's begin with an explanation of the sensing portion of the task. A single sheet of paper with the drawing is prepared in frame of the Sawyer's camera. First, we take a photo of the paper using the wrist camera. No AR tags are needed at this stage, and the photo can be taken at an oblique angle, although it isn't here. Next, a mask is applied to the image to isolate the largest white contour from the image, which should be the sheet of paper. Any pixels from outside this contour are removed. After that, the previously identified contour is transformed to a 1100 by 850 pixel rectangle. This corrects for obliqueness in the image. If the identified contour wasn't a quadrilateral, the best approximation of one will be made. This helps if the lighting is bad or if there are folds or bends in the paper. Now we can convert the image to paths for the robot to follow. From the transformed image, we pre-process it by applying a Gaussian blur, an adaptive threshold, and a morphological closed transform to better identify lines. We then skeletonize the image, shrinking down the white lines until only a 1 pixel wide skeleton image remains. Small noisy dots and lines are then removed, leaving us with an image for the robot to draw. We then need to convert this image to individual paths. A depth-first search algorithm is run to traverse the white pixels in the image, visiting neighbor pixels and choosing random ones at branches until no more unvisited points can be visited without picking up the pen. This constitutes one line segment in the final drawing. A new random pixel is then chosen, and the process repeats until all pixels to draw have been visited. After that, the segments are reordered using a brute force method to minimize travel distance between different segments. Also, if two segments start and end close enough, they'll simply be merged into one line together. The Raymer-Douglas-Pecker algorithm is then used to approximate each contour with fewer points, so 20 pixel long straight line could be represented by the two endpoints rather than all 20 pixels. We also generate an animation to preview the exact paths the robot will be drawing. The generated path is saved to a pickle file to be read by the actuation portion of our program. We replace the template paper with a new blank sheet of paper to draw on. First, we must locate the AR tags located on opposite corners of the target paper. We switch over to the head camera to sense the AR tags, since we generally found better results sensing them with it. Here, you can see both AR tags showing up in RViz. The previously computed paths are loaded in and transformed from paper relative coordinates to world frame coordinates based on the coordinates of the AR tags. Each path is sent to a move group commander using the compute Cartesian paths function to plan a path from the first point of the segment to the last point, going through all of the waypoints in the middle. We also add a point before and after each segment with an elevated z-coordinate to pick up the marker between segments. The velocities and acceleration of each joint in the plan are set to 20% to improve accuracy and ease of troubleshooting, though this does increase our drawing time. We'll time-lapse the rest of the drawing, but we've included a stopwatch to show the real time elapsed. As an extra challenge, note that we used only 2 AR tags in addition to having a rotation in the paper. This requires us to do extra math to determine its orientation, since we don't have a third tag to easily determine the two orthogonal edges of the paper. We have to assume the paper size has an aspect ratio of 8.5 by 11. As well as that the tags are in the upper left and lower right corners. Otherwise, there would be no way to uniquely determine the exact size of the paper with just 2 corners alone. And there we have it, a completed drawing in about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Keep in mind that we could have sped this up, since we limited the speed to 20%. Here's a direct comparison of the robot's drawing with our original source drawing. Although it's not identical, the robot drew a clearly recognizable copy in the same orientation as the source image, even though the target paper was placed at an angle. Although we had to face a lot of trials and tribulations to get this far, it was a fun process and we learned a lot. Thanks for watching!